When you think about expensive guitars, you'd be forgiven for saying, oh yeah, that vintage Gibson Les Paul or that fantastic Fender Strat that you recently saw. Well, we've decided here at Rock My World to give the most expensive bass guitars a moment in the sun. So, let's check out 7 of the most expensive guitars out there right now. Gibson Thunderbird 63 to 65 edition. Gibson maybe isn't the first name you go to when you're thinking of bass guitars, but just like their competition in the marketplace, Gibson have one of the most iconic basses out there. The Gibson Thunderbird has a seriously unique design and are known for their superb playing qualities. Now, maybe they're a little harder to play than most, but let's face it, there are few basses that look as rock and roll as this classic bass. Now a serious collector's item, this bass isn't as pricey as some of the other vintage examples, but if you fancy picking up one like this, a 1963 to 65 Thunderbird in a non-standard color, this baby will set you back $15,000 to $17,000. Alembic Series 2, the Stanley Clarke signature model. One of the greatest bassists to ever pick up the instrument is Stanley Clarke. His technique and skill are untouchable, and his basses, well, they're pretty much unobtainable. Clarke has collaborated with Alembic off and on over the years, and together they've made several instruments. The creme de la creme is his 1980 short version of his Series 2 model. Even if you could get your hands on one, you'd be looking at forking over more than $20,000. The double cutaway gives it a pretty sexy look, and knowing the two parties involved in its concept and design, Clarke and Alembic's bass will be nothing short of superb. The Fodera Anthony Jackson Presentation Bass. This baby was the first collaboration Fodera did with the incredible jazz fusion master Anthony Jackson. It was in 1987 that Jackson came up with a nothing standard idea for this bass. He also told the guys of Fodera not to use any graphite for stiffening the neck, go with passive electronics, and a giant cutaway. That compensated for the lack of stiffening materials in the neck. All we can say is, what a beauty. This $20,000 plus bass comes with a quilted mahogany top, alder body, alder tone block, and Brazilian rosewood fingerboard that give this instrument an incredibly warm and deep nuanced tone with wonderful articulation. Phew. The Zamatis Hard Hole Bass 1970s edition. Tony Zamatis was well known for his creative mind and was creating beautiful guitars back in the day. His forte was guitars though, and he very rarely built basses, but when he did turn his hand to the 4-string variety, they were nothing short of amazing. Played by the likes of Emerson, Lake and Palmer's bassist Greg Lake, these beautiful instruments are not only top-notch in terms of quality, but also extremely rare. For collectors, if you're lucky enough to track one down, you'd be looking at parting with around $25,000. More than worth it for one of these fretless beauties. The Fender Jazz Bass Custom, color, early 1960s. You can't have a list of basses without having one of the world's most iconic in the collection. The Fender Jazz bass found its way into the hands of bassists around the mid-60s, and the demand for these guitars have been high ever since. That being said, this wasn't the case when the bass was first introduced in 1960. For the first 2 years of production, it was pretty much ignored in terms of sales. But if you can find one now in a color other than the standard sunburst, the price for such a rarity can go for as high as $30,000. The Fodera Anthony Jackson Presentation 2 model. We're back to Anthony Jackson again. If his first bass was a beast, and we happen to think so, his second bass on our list is nothing short of a monster. This combination of alder body with a red oak neck, ebony fretboard, and a custom-built Fedora Duncan dual-coil pickup, this bass is nothing less than top of the line. So, if you've got $35,000 plus hanging around, this baby is all yours. The Ritter Royal Flora Aurum. Jens Ritter is a German luthier that could have basically taken over the whole list. Known for his custom luxury bass guitars, his Ritter Royal Aurum costs the same as a high-end sports car. And this is a beautiful piece of art, never mind a bass guitar. The body of this bass is carved from a single piece of rare maple wood. There is 24-karat gold everywhere. The fingerboard and the knobs are decorated with diamonds and platinum, and, to take it over the edge, the nut is made of 10,000-year-old mammoth ivory. Yeah, that's right, mammoth ivory. As insane and over the top as it gets, $250,000 will make you seriously stand out the next time you decide to go to your local jam night. So, there you have it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us at rockmyworld.com.